Asterisk, the hook. Stand aside, human. The alien warrior queen roared from her beast's back. The air was hot, thick with the smell of burning metal and blood. Red dust swirled in the wind, carrying the echoes of distant war drums. The battlefield was silent now except for the faint crackle of dying fires. Sergeant Daniel Kane stood alone among the wreckage. His armor was cracked, his right arm bleeding. But his back was straight, his eyes locked forward. From the haze, a shadow moved. It was huge, at least 3 times the height of a man. The ground shook with each step. And then it appeared, a beast of muscle and armored hide, its tusks curved like blades. On its back sat the alien warrior queen. Her armor shimmered dark green in the light, and her black cape whipped in the wind. Her golden eyes burned with command. Stand aside, human. She roared. Her voice was deep, carrying across the field like a war horn. The beast beneath her let out a rumbling growl, pawing at the ground. Its claws scraped the dirt. Ready to charge, Daniel didn't move, not a single muscle. His boots were rooted in the dust as if the ground itself held him there. The queen narrowed her eyes. She was used to humans trembling before her. She had seen them kneel, run, beg. But this one, he only stared back. The beast snorted, breath steaming in the cool desert air. The queen raised her spear, the sunlight glinting off its razor edge. One word from her and the beast would crush him underfoot. "Did you not hear me?" she said. Her voice slower now, heavier. "I heard you," Daniel replied, his voice calm, almost quiet. "But I will not move." The queen tilted her head, curious despite herself. This human's voice, there was no fear in it. Her warriors, standing behind her in a loose half-circle, muttered in their alien tongue. Some urged her to strike, others to take him alive. "You are brave," she said at last, "or foolish." "Maybe both," Daniel answered, her golden eyes sharpened. "What do you guard, human? Why risk your life for it?" Daniel's hand moved slowly to his chest. There, under the cracked armor, was a small metal case strapped tight. "It's not something you can take by force," he said. The queen's gaze flicked to the case. Her beast growled again, sensing her tension. "Everything can be taken by force," she said coldly. Daniel's lips curved into the faintest smile. "Not this." For a long moment, neither moved. The wind picked up, pulling at her cape, carrying the smell of fire between them. A hawk-like cry echoed far above. Somewhere in the ruins behind him, a piece of metal fell with a soft clang. But still, they did not break eye contact. Queen leaned forward on her saddle. "Do you know my name?" she asked. "Yes," Daniel said without hesitation. "Vayara, of the House of Thorns." The warriors behind her stiffened. A human should not know her true title. Her eyes narrowed. "And yet I have never met you," she said. "Not in person," he replied. Something unreadable crossed her face, a mixture of interest and caution. The beast scraped the dirt again, eager for the kill. "Last chance," she said, voice rising. "Move or be crushed." Daniel's eyes never left hers. "I'm not moving." A low growl rolled from the beast's throat. Her spear lifted higher. The tension snapped like a pulled bowstring. "Charge!" she roared. The beast lunged forward. The ground shook as it thundered toward him. Its tusks lowered, its massive weight bearing down. Dust exploded with each step. Daniel stood still. Not a step back, not even a flinch at the very last moment. The queen pulled on the reins. The beast stopped inches from Daniel, its hot breath washing over him. She stared down at him, her expression unreadable. "Interesting," she said quietly, then louder to her warriors. "Hold the alien." Soldiers froze, unsure why she had stopped the kill. The queen's eyes locked on Daniel again. "Tell me, human, what could be worth defying me on this field?" Daniel looked up at her, the faint smile still on his lips. "Something you want," he said, "but can never steal." The queen's gaze sharpened. She leaned forward once more. "I will decide." "That," she said, and the fires around them burned a little brighter. The standoff, the beast's claws dug into the dirt, its chest rising and falling like a forge bellows. Daniel could feel the heat of its breath on his face. Still, he did not blink. Queen Vayara sat high in the saddle, her spear lowered but not yet striking. She studied him the way a hunter studies a strange animal, cautious, curious around them. Her warriors kept their weapons raised. No one spoke. Only the crackle of burning wreckage and the distant hum of the wind filled the silence. "You say I cannot take it by force," Vayara said at last. "Explain." Her voice was calm now, but it carried a hidden weight, the kind that could crush a man without a single blow. Daniel tilted his head slightly. "You're thinking about the case," he said. "Of course," she replied. "It's not the case," he told her. "It's what's in my mind." The queen's golden eyes narrowed. A flicker of something passed over her face. Recognition? Doubt? She was no fool. If the human spoke the truth, then killing him would destroy what she wanted. But if he lied, she could not allow him to walk away alive. "Step down," she commanded. Her voice was lower now, almost a growl. Daniel didn't move. The beast shifted its weight, claws scraping again. A fine dust cloud swirled between them. "You think I won't end you where you stand?" Vayara asked. "You stopped your beast," Daniel said. "That means you're not sure." For a moment, the queen almost smiled. He had nerve. Perhaps too much nerve for a human on a dead battlefield. "Bring him," she ordered her warriors. They stepped forward cautiously, weapons at the ready. But Daniel raised a hand, palm out. "If any of you touch me," he said, "the thing I carry dies with me." The warriors hesitated. Glancing at their queen, Vayara's eyes narrowed further. She was measuring him now, not just his courage, but his usefulness. "You speak like someone who knows my customs," she said. "I've read about them." He replied, "You take trophies. You value honor. You make enemies bow before killing them." A ripple of unease passed through the warriors. How much did this human know, and how? Vayara leaned forward, the faint light catching the sharp edges of her crown. "You know too much, human," she said softly. "Then you understand why I cannot simply let you walk away." Daniel met her gaze. "And you understand why I cannot simply give you what you want." They stared at each other in silence. Two predators locked in a cage neither could leave. The dust swirled, the fires popped. Somewhere far away, the war drums began again. Slow, heavy, boom. Boom, boom. The queen straightened, pulling slightly on the beast's reins. "I will not kill you," she said. "Yet." Then she raised her spear, pointing it directly at his chest. "I challenge you, human," she said. "By the code of the throne, you will fight me, and if you win, you may leave. If you lose, your mind will be mine." Daniel's jaw tightened. A duel with the warrior queen herself. No human had faced her in single combat and lived. The beast shifted again, its tusks glinting in the firelight. Her warriors stepped back to form a ring around them. Vayara's voice rang out. "All will witness," she said. "This human defies me. Let the challenge be answered in blood." Daniel dropped the empty rifle from his shoulder. It hit the dirt with a dull thud. His fingers closed around the worn hilt of his combat knife. He looked up at her and said, "Then let's finish this." The queen's challenge. The circle of warriors tightened, their armor clinking softly as they formed a wall around the duel. Beyond them, the red desert stretched into the haze, broken only by the jagged wreckage of war machines. The sun hung low, its light cutting long shadows across the dust. Daniel adjusted his grip on the combat knife. The blade felt small in his hand, far too small for what stood before him. Queen Vayara slid down from the beast in one fluid motion. Her boots hit the ground with a dull thud. She moved with the precision of someone who had fought 100 battles and survived them all. She removed her long spear and tossed it to one of her warriors, then drew her own blade. It was a curved weapon, forged from dark alien metal. The edge shimmered faintly. As if hungry, you face me as an equal, she said. Fight as if your life is worth something. Daniel didn't answer. Words wouldn't save him here. They began to circle. Her golden eyes never left his. Every step she took was deliberate. Slow enough to measure him, fast enough to trap him. Daniel shifted his weight lightly, keeping the knife between them. He watched her shoulders, her hips, her stance. She was fast, too fast. Without warning, she struck. Her blade came down. In a diagonal arc, Daniel dodged left, the edge missing his face by inches. The air sang as it cut past. He countered with a quick slash toward her ribs, but she twisted, catching his wrist in a sudden iron grip. She could have broken his arm. Instead, she shoved him back, testing him. "You're lighter than I expected," she said, almost amused. Daniel didn't reply. He came in low this time, aiming for her legs. She blocked. Steel meeting alien alloy with a sharp clang. The vibration shot up his arm. Again they circled. Dust rose around their feet. Her warriors watched in silence. The only sound was their breathing and the distant beat of war drums. Vayara feinted right, then spun left. Daniel barely managed to parry. The force of her blow sent him stumbling. She closed the gap. Her blade whistled toward his throat. He ducked. Under, rolled to the side, came up behind her and slashed at her back. The tip of his knife caught the edge of her armor, tearing a thin line across the metal. It was not much, but it was something. She froze, looked down at the mark, then slowly turned her head toward him. "You drew first blood," she said quietly. The tone in her voice made the surrounding warriors stiffen. In a flash, she was on him. Their blades clashed again and again. Sparks danced in the air. Daniel fought with every ounce of strength. But she was stronger, faster, a blur of motion. And lethal precision. She kicked his legs from under him. He hit the ground hard, dust filling his mouth. Her blade pressed against his chest. The fight was over, or so it seemed. Daniel's left hand slid toward the dirt beside him. His fingers closed around something small. He flicked it upward. A handful of dust and ash caught the sunlight. It struck her eyes. Vayara snarled, stepping back. Daniel surged to his feet, knife in hand. Now it was his turn to press forward. Blow after blow drove her back toward the ring of warriors. For the first time she was defending, not attacking. And then, he stopped, knife poised at her throat, her golden eyes locked on his. He had her, the Queen of Thorns, pinned. The warriors shifted uneasily. The beast beyond the circle let out a deep, dangerous growl. Vayara's lips curved into a slow, dangerous smile. "You fight like no human I've seen," she said. "Now, tell me why you really came here." Asterisk dual twist. The tip of Daniel's knife rested against the smooth skin of her throat. One move and the duel would be over. Around them, her warriors shifted uneasily, unsure if they should step in. The beast outside the ring rumbled low, its tusks gleaming in the red light. Queen Vayara's golden eyes never blinked. She stood tall, unflinching. "You've won," she said quietly. The words were soft, but they did not sound like surrender. Daniel frowned. Something in her tone felt wrong. It wasn't defeat. It was bait. "You expect me to believe that?" he asked. She tilted her head slightly. "I expect you to understand that winning is not the same as surviving." Before he could react, her armor shifted. Not cloth, not leather, but living plates that moved like muscle. They snapped outward. In a sudden burst, one edge caught his wrist, forcing the knife away. Her other hand slammed into his chest. The world spun. Daniel hit the ground with the wind knocked out of him. Vayara's foot pressed down on his chest. Her curved blade hovered above his face. She looked down at him, her breath slow and steady. "Did you think a single trick of dust could defeat me?" she asked. Every warrior tries something clever before they die. Daniel's knife was gone, lying a few feet away in the dust. Her warriors relaxed slightly, certain the duel had returned to its rightful end. But Daniel's eyes stayed locked. On hers, he wasn't done. "You could have killed me already," he said. "Why haven't you?" She didn't answer right away. The wind tugged at her cape. The fires beyond the ring hissed and popped. Finally she spoke. "Because I have questions." Her voice was lower now. "And if I kill you too soon, I'll never have my answers." She stepped back, letting him breathe. The duel had ended without a kill, but the tension still burned. She raised her voice for all to hear. "This human will not die yet," the warriors murmured in surprise. The beast let out another growl, but obeyed her command. Daniel slowly got to his feet. "You're sparing me?" he asked. "I am claiming you," she corrected. "You will come with me to my throne world. There, I will decide your fate." Daniel's jaw tightened. He didn't like the sound of that, but deep inside, he knew this was his only way. Forward, Vayara turned to mount her beast again. As she did, she glanced over her shoulder. "You should know, human," she said. "In my culture, no duel truly ends until one of us kneels." Her golden eyes gleamed. "And I do not kneel." The revelation, the beast's massive claws, sank into the dirt as Queen Vayara climbed into the saddle. Daniel walked beside it, his hands bound with a strip of alien metal that felt cold even through his gloves. The circle of warriors moved around them, forming a living wall as they left the battlefield. The desert stretched ahead. Glowing under the dying sun, long shadows reached across the sand like black fingers. Daniel kept his head low, his mind turning. Every step took him further from the wreckage, and closer to her throne world. Vayara watched him from above. She saw no fear in his eyes, only calculation. This troubled her. Most prisoners pleaded, cursed, or begged. He was silent, silent. Men often had teeth. "You fought well," she said at last. He didn't answer. "You also fought like someone who studied me," she continued. Still, no reply. Only the crunch of sand under their boots. Finally, he looked up. "I didn't study you," he said. "I studied what's coming for you." The queen frowned. "What do you mean?" Daniel stopped walking, forcing the beast to halt. Her warriors tensed. From the bound man's lips came a single sentence. "Your empire is already under attack. You just don't know it yet." Vayara stared down at him, her golden eyes narrowed. "Is this a trick to buy your life?" "No," Daniel said. "You spared me because you thought I had something you wanted." He tapped his temple. "And I do, but it's not a weapon, not a map, not anything you can hold." She leaned forward in the saddle. "Then what is it?" He hesitated. His voice was lower now, so only she could hear. "I know who killed your sister." The queen froze. Her warriors didn't notice, but Daniel saw it, the flicker in her eyes. The moment when the mask of the conqueror cracked just enough to show something human. "How?" she began, but stopped herself. Her fingers tightened around the reins. Her beast shifted restlessly beneath her. Daniel kept his gaze steady. "I came here knowing you'd want me alive once you heard that," he said. "You think you took me, but I needed to be taken." The queen said nothing. The fires of the battlefield were far behind them now. Only the sound of the wind filled the space between them. When she finally spoke, her voice was softer, but far more dangerous. "If you are lying, I will not kill you quickly." Daniel's faint smile returned. "Then I guess I'd better be telling the truth." Vayara straightened again. She didn't like being led anywhere. And yet, for the first time in many years, the hunt she thought she had won was beginning to feel like someone else's trap. The alliance, the twin moons, rose over the desert. Their pale light washed the sand in silver. Daniel walked beside the beast, the alien bindings still locked around his wrists. Above him, Queen Vayara sat tall in the saddle, her eyes always moving, scanning the dunes. Scanning him, her warriors rode ahead and behind, a living convoy cutting through the night. Some watched the horizon for threats. Others kept their hands on their weapons. But Daniel noticed. None of them turned their back on him. They stopped at a ridge where the sand dropped into a deep canyon. In the shadows below, small lights flickered like embers. Vayara raised her hand. "This will be our camp," she said. Her voice was calm. But her gaze never left him. As the warriors set up, She dismounted and walked over. She cut the bindings from his wrists with a single slice of her curved blade. The cold metal fell into the sand with a soft clink. "You're free to move," she said, "but understand. If you run, the beast will find you before you take 10 steps. Daniel rubbed his wrists. He didn't thank her. "You don't trust me," he said. "I don't trust anyone," she replied. "Not even your warriors?" "They follow me," she said. "That is not the same as trust." He studied her for a moment. "You're going to need trust for what's coming." Her golden eyes narrowed. "And you think I should trust you?" "I think you already do," he said. "Otherwise I'd be dead." For the first time since the duel, she didn't have an answer ready. She turned away, ordering her warriors to keep watch through the night. Later, as the campfire burned low, Daniel sat apart from the others. He pulled a small, hidden device from his boot, no bigger than a coin. He tapped it twice. A faint green light pulsed before fading again. Somewhere far away, someone would see that signal on the other side of camp. Vayara sat sharpening her blade. She wasn't watching him directly, but she had ordered 2 of her best scouts to shadow his every move. In her mind, she played through the possibilities. If he spoke the truth about her sister, he could be a key. If he lied, he was bait to lure whoever sent him. The fire cracked. The night wind hissed across the sand. Both of them knew this uneasy alliance wouldn't last forever. It wasn't a matter of if one would betray the other, only who would strike first. High above, one of the moons slipped behind a dark shape in the sky. Neither Daniel nor Vayara noticed it at first, but the shadow grew, and with it came a low hum, not the sound of wind. The sound of something vast moving overhead, * the greater. Where the hum grew louder, the air itself seemed to vibrate. Daniel looked up, his eyes narrowing. Vayara rose to her feet in a single, smooth motion. Above the canyon, the stars vanished, swallowed by a massive shadow. It was not a cloud. It was a ship. No, not one ship. Dozens, silent shapes sliding across the sky like predators in deep water. Her warriors shouted, pointing their weapons upward. The beast growled, stamping the ground. Daniel stepped closer to Vayara. "Those aren't mine," he said. She didn't. "Look at him. They're not mine either." A beam of pale light cut down from the largest ship. It touched the canyon floor with a sound like tearing metal. Where it struck, the sand melted into glass. Then, something stepped through. Tall, thin, wrong. Its limbs were too long. Its head crowned with spines that moved as if alive. It carried no weapon, yet every warrior took a step back. The first alien hissed. Its voice was like static breaking through an old radio. More followed. Dozens spilling out from the beam. They moved without sound. Except for the steady click of claws on glass. Daniel's hand went to his knife. Vayara drew her curved blade. Their eyes met for half a second, and in that look was a silent agreement. We kill them first, then each other later. The creatures moved fast. One leapt, clearing half the canyon in a single bound. Daniel met it mid-air, driving his knife into its throat. Black fluid sprayed across the sand. Beside him, Vayara spun her blade in a wide arc. 2 more fell in pieces at her feet. The camp became chaos. Her warriors fought in tight formation, but the creatures slipped between their lines. The beast roared, snapping one in half with its tusks. The night filled with firelight, shadows and screams. A massive shape dropped from the lead ship, something larger than the beast. Its skin shimmered like glass, reflecting every flicker of the fire. It landed between Daniel and Vayara with a force that shook the ground. They both staggered. Daniel's ears rang. The thing looked down at them as if deciding which to eat first. Vayara's voice cut through the noise. "Stand aside, human." But this time, it wasn't a command. It was a warning. The creature struck. Daniel rolled left, Vayara right. Its claws ripped into the ground where they had been standing. Sand and stone exploded upward. Both came up swinging. His knife, her blade. Steel and alien alloy met the thing's hide. It screamed, the sound splitting the night. And then the pale beam flared again. More were coming. Too many. Daniel's chest heaved. Vayara glanced at him. For once, there was no mockery in her eyes, only grim recognition. "This isn't my war," she said. "It is now," he replied. Above them, the sky burned with descending ships, and the desert night lit up like the first moments of the end of the world. Asterisk.